talking to yourself for a couple minutes is actually more entertaining when you have to do it again because you realize you weren't recording. But either way, last week for Chuckles, I think he's going to get kicked to the curb. 3 weeks is a good amount of time. And, you know, spreading Halloween to kids that even didn't get to go out this year. So, yeah. Kind of sucks to be back on the East Coast right now. This week you're going to learn definition of a shark. You have your idea what a shark is, and we all really don't like them, but you'll really learn what the definition is in a story I have to tell you. So I'm going to get into it. First I want to mention something because you know, even though it's not a yard sale pickup, I don't know if you guys really care about it, but you know, I pick up other things not at yard sales, game related, new stuff, and I don't know, I think some people might appreciate it. And had this, it's just sitting here for weeks, like I didn't even mention it, and you know, because I kept forgetting. Anyways, I had pre-ordered the gauntlet for Ezio of the Assassin's Creed series, and for some reason it says Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I don't know, it's either way, it's Ezio, it's Gauntlet, and these things are, I bet they're not going to be available soon, but I had pre-ordered it. This week I also picked up Journey for the PlayStation 3. It was a collector's edition. It included Journey, Flower, and Flow, which I already bought previously when I first got my PlayStation 3. My brother was part of the Power Up Rewards program, and there was a coupon that gave half off those collections, and so I got it for $15 for the 2 games, and that's much better than paying $15 for just Journey. So, and I have a physical disc, so when the service goes down, I can still actually play the games. So we want to hear the yard sailing stories. That's why we're all here. Last week I go out and I found As Your Dreams, and the lady called me. I asked her to call me back if she found the case or manual, and you know, the same day she called me back for the mail. And then I think 3 days later, I think this was on the Tuesday, she called me again, said she had found the case, and said would I, you know, she didn't know if I was really interested. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm interested. And so I go down there, and yeah, now I've got a complete copy of As Your Dreams in really good condition. I mean, the case is cracked on the front a bit, but that always can be replaced. Very nice to have it. You know, I look on Craigslist to see where I'm going out. One of them said, you know, video game. They had video game stuff, and I was like, oh great, now you advertise it. So I mean, it's a known quantity. You go where you go where stuff is, or else other people might get there. Either way, I go there and they have just a bunch of controllers and like pre-order kind of dealies, you know, like some bobblehead for Fallout, or Destroy All Humans, and I don't even know how valuable that stuff is, or I didn't want it, but the one thing I did pick up is a brand new in package Rumble Pack for the DS, and I didn't pay 75 cents, I paid $0.25. And you know, these things that I could imagine that this thing's like probably 10 years old right now. I could imagine these things becoming quite rare, even loose. And yeah, so even though I'd like to open this up and play Metroid Prime Pinball with a Rumble Pack, I think I'm gonna hold on to this because this could be something that's gonna be rare. I see a random sign for a yard sale, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to it. You know, I figure those are the ones I always have the best luck at, and yeah, just never avoid those. Always go to the ones that you don't know about before going out. Like if you're using Craigslist or the newspaper or something to figure out where you're going to go and create a schedule for you. Go to the random ones. Take the little detour, because not a lot of people are going to those because they're not advertised. No one knows about them ahead of time. Anyways, I go over there, and as I'm pulling up, I see the shark in my town. Like, he's the biggest shark in my town. He's not just shark of video games. I mean, that's the thing. Sharks, they're not just interested in games. Anyways, I see him, and I see a box, and poking out of the box, I see boxes and boxes of Intellivision games, and there probably were Atari 2600 games, because when I looked in the first box there was an Atari 2600 and Intellivision 2. The box was marked Atari and Sega, so I didn't see any Sega stuff in there, Master System, Genesis, or otherwise. But in the second box there was a whole lot more game boxes. In the first box there were systems and game boxes, but in the second box I couldn't see what was underneath everything, and I started going through quickly, and I'm thinking in my head, like, how did this guy not see this? He had to have seen this. And as I was pulling up, I heard the guy just say, like, oh, okay, like $50. Like, he knows that I go after games, and because he's come to the yard sales before where I've gotten the better hand. That's how I got my Super Metroid. But either way, he was basically buying the two boxes for $50, and I'm poking through, and I'm seeing like all those iMagic games, and those are my favorite in terms of like Atari. I don't have an Intellivision, and I really don't want one. In fact, if I was looking through this box, I probably wouldn't have picked out much. I don't really want an Intellivision. I might have picked out some Atari games I didn't have. I might have even picked out some iMagic games for the Intellivision, because I know those are quite interesting and probably valuable because of it. But either way, he comes up and says, I bought all this. And I was like, all of it? And he's like, yeah, sorry. And I'm just like, sure you are. That's what a shark is. He'll buy that, and then as soon as he bought that, he starts like pretty much buying everything else and trying to get really dirt cheap prices. He was going through the person's garage and literally saying, is this for sale, is that for sale? This guy is like the lowest of lows. I've been to other sales where people have actually kicked him out of their sale because he was so aggressive. And you see, that's the difference between a shark and what I consider myself to be a fox. A shark will never I'm going to compare it to a real life shark. A real life shark doesn't sleep. It's always awake, and it always has to keep itself energized. It's pretty much a slab of muscle that can power its way through the underwater currents at 30-40 miles per hour. It's hundreds of pounds of pure muscle, so it has to keep itself fed, and so it's never really satiated. And that's what a shark is at a yard sale. They're never satiated. They always have to get more. And it could be that this is what they do for a living, but you get on my turf, video games, and you're gonna get me really angry, because this guy, he's done it before. I come to another sale, and he just walks up to a stack of games and he just goes, grabs them, how much for everything. I don't even know if he's been to sales. I know he probably has been to sales where I've been to. Like, he could have gotten that Atari or the Nintendo. That's what a shark is. A fox, however, I consider myself a fox. I pretty much try to get the better deal, but I'm gonna feel pretty good about getting what I want. I'm not going to buy your entire house. I'm not going to buy, go from video games to a cooler to a tent and try to get the cheapest deals so that I can, sell them elsewhere. But that's what a shark is. They're never full. They're never full. And these boxes were freaking huge. They were like 3 foot by 3 foot by like 2 feet high. They were just tons of games inside. You could dive in there. You could sit in these boxes. That's how big they were. It drives me freaking nuts. I feel like punching the guy in the face. Yeah. Anyways, I'm looking around. I asked about the Sega stuff because I didn't see any Sega stuff in those boxes. For my few seconds that I was able to look through it, I pulled out some truck driving game made by iMagic or Imagic I think it was for the Intellivision. That one looked cool, but yeah, she said that she didn't have anything, no Nintendo or anything. She had a drawer out. I think it was from her kids' room. There was a bunch of like Pokemon cards and just all sorts of cards based on movies and comics, etc. And I found a DS box in there. Pokemon Pearl. I say box because, well, it had the mail, has everything else in there, but no game. And this alone is valuable. So I said, could I have it? And she said yes. So, if I ever get the game, or if I can't get the game, here's a box. So, let's get on to something better, because the more I dwell on that sale, the more I feel pissed off at that. Riding away from that sale, and my original plan was headed over to the opposite side of town and then go to the completely other end of town. And while I'm thinking about it, I was just like, I should just go to this other end of town that I was closer to, and I thought my route would be better. But I continued on. I was all festering and angry the whole time. But I went to the one part of town, then I went to the other opposite end of town. I go to this yard sale, and I asked the guy, because I looked around a bit. I said, "You selling any video games?" And he said, "The only thing I'm selling is that box over there. It has some like Atari and Sega stuff." And I, was gleaming inside. Coming from that last sale, I was really happy to hear that. So I head over to the box. There really wasn't any Sega stuff in there. There was a Genesis Model 1. I don't need another Genesis. There actually were 2 Ataris, and there were tons of games. None of them boxed, but they had a bunch of manuals, and it had a bunch of other like promotional material, and some controllers. And I had gotten an Atari a couple weeks ago at a thrift store, and I had no controllers for it. So I got, a set of paddles. These things are awesome. And a set of the shittiest joystick in the world. The guy had some good games for the Atari. I'm not an expert at the Atari about what is good game, what is valuable, what's rare, or whatever, but there's certain publishers or developers that I recognize as releasing more quality titles, or ones that put a little bit more spit shine on them. Stuff like the iMagic games, or in this case, Parker Brothers. So let's see what we got here. Alright, first up, Moon Patrol. I already have a copy of this game, but I just love this game, so I had to buy another one. Pitfall 2. I know this game's quite rare, and you know, I know it's completely different than the first game, but yeah, I'm gonna break this up into 2 stacks. It's some Atari 8-bit computer stuff. Miner 2049er. I think this is another rare game. Let's see, we got Squish 'em. There might have been a label on this, but who knows? Amidar. Yeah, it's like a mixture of Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, I think I remember. Some guy, like, he has to paint all the tiles in a maze. I can't remember. I haven't played this yet, but let's see. Spider-Man. Now this one's probably dookie. Just I can just imagine it not being so good. It's a licensed game. Tutankhamun. I have no idea what this game's like. Now, Congo Bongo for the Sega, or by Sega, is a really nice looking cartridge compared to most 2600 games. I mean, look at the detail on that. Looks like the arcade machine. I know I'm not a big fan of this game. I never had it, but I've seen videos of it, and yeah, I really was thinking about getting it for the 5200 if I actually had. I bought a 5200 at a yard sale last year, and I brought it home. It didn't work, and I actually had bought some replacement chips for it from a website, and still wasn't working. You know, there could be some dead RAM chips in there. I had used borrowed a multimeter from somebody at work, and tested out a lot of the chips, and it seemed like after I had replaced those 2 chips, like the graphics chip and the CPU or whatever, it was the RAM. Either way, that's something I'd really hope to find, a nice working 5200. Mountain King. I think this is another really fun game. Now these labels, they were falling off, but Popeye and Montezuma's Revenge. This game is fun. Montezuma's Revenge. That's what should have been Indiana Jones on the Atari. Is that all of them? Unthawampus. So I know this game. It's like a text-based game. You know, go north, go east, whatever. You're supposed to be hunting this creature called the Wampus, and you can fire arrows, I believe. I never played this, but I'm just saying I know what the game is. And I think this is for Texas Instruments TI-99 4A. I'm not certain though. I don't have that computer, but it was in there and I decided to grab it. Put this up here. So, inside there was also, like I said, a bunch of manuals and all sorts of really cool promotional materials. So I got like the manual for Amidar, manual for Mountain King. This is like promotional stuff that includes, I hope to one day get another 5200. That was like the first system that my family had, and back then I really didn't appreciate video games, but you know, to have like Dig Dug and Moon Patrol on that again would be really sweet. But yeah, this shows like those games in here, you know, the system. I love looking at this stuff. Manual for the Atari 2600. Another preview catalog. This one from 82. Preview catalog from 83. Now this is pretty sweet. This is, I'm not sure if it was a manual or what, I think this is the manual, or like a little extra thing to read that came with Pitfall 2. Manual for Congo Bongo. Manual for Montezuma's Revenge. Manual for Moon Patrol. I love this game. You know, this is one of the first games I had when I got my 2600 at that yard sale. The first yard sale, well, it wasn't the first yard sale I went to, but the first day I went yard selling, this was like one of the first games I cleaned and popped into the system because I just knew it was going to be awesome and was super surprised. Like, compared to like all the other games I played, this has some really good graphics for a 2600 game, and it even had music. So yeah. Manual for Dig Dug. Unfortunately, no Dig Dug. But I don't know. I bet it would probably suck compared to like the 5200 version, which we had when I was younger. Manual for Joust. No Joust cartridge though. Manual for Spider-Man. No Spider-Man cartridge. Manual for Kangaroo. And Kangaroo was I remember playing this actually in the arcade at a hotel much later, like in the 90s. So that and Rolling Thunder, same arcade. It was in like its that's what my brother and I used to do when we get to go on vacation. We would look at the map of a hotel and figure out if they had an arcade room, and then go right down there. Oh man, I love those. Yeah, Kangaroo. Kaboom, which I actually did not have the manual of. I have a card-only copy, so yeah. Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. I think this is a valuable game. I actually have a boxed copy. Like I said, I got a ton of games. Manual for that. Frogger 2, another rare game. Millipede. Jungle Hunt. And Tutankhamun. And a owner's manual for a TRS-80 pocket computer. Owner's manual. It wasn't in there, but I don't know, grabbed it. Guy wanted $10 for the entire box, which had, you know, like I said, 2 Ataris, Genesis games, or sorry, 1 Genesis game, which was like F-22 Interceptor and a Genesis. There were actually some games I didn't grab, like Dragster, Freeway. I don't know, some shitty games that I either had or didn't want. They had Combat, didn't grab that. Left the mail in there. Either way, I was, you know, the guy wanted $10 for the whole box, and he wasn't keen on splitting it up. But I said, how about $3 for all this stuff? Because he wanted $10 for the box. I imagine, you know, I told him I could pay you $3 for this, and you get $10 from someone else for the entire box. And I just told him about the other guy who came from the television sale and bought everything. And you could get $13 on everything. He was actually commenting on the guy who's like, oh yeah, people watch these shows and they think this stuff's worth a fortune. Some of these games are like $20, $40, I think. Like Pitfall 2, I think that's a valuable game. Either way, you know, I tipped his hand a bit, and yeah, he took my $3. Normally, I don't find Atari stuff, so it's $1 a game usually at other places, but maybe he allowed me to get the sale because it's older. I don't know. And maybe he felt sorry for me for not getting all that other sale, the intelligence stuff. Seamless transition, right? I know what you're thinking. Battery went dead, so here we are, day later. Let's finish this. There was a community, and mostly old folks, and they were all asking, like, you know, because I'm asking the question, of course, do they have any games? And they're all telling me, nope. And why would you, you know, they're asking like, you know, we're old here. This is an old folks community. And I'm like, yeah, but you're the kinds of people that kind of store these things in, you know, bins and boxes and pull them out. So I didn't tell them that, but, you know, I still ask, and some of them were like, you know what, I think my nephew or my grandson or blah, blah, blah who are like 30 years old or something might have some of that stuff. So, you know, I left my name and number. But, you know, those people usually never call back. Anyways, one of the people there was like 30, looked like she was 30 years old. I don't know if she was like the manager of the community or, you know, whatever, but she had GameCube and PS2 games, and picked up Resident Evil. All these are in like really good condition, they're complete. This one has like GameStop stickers on the there, but that's not bad at all. Mario Sunshine, Sonic 2 Adventure Battle, and Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 on the PlayStation, which I've actually never played. It might be easier to get into than Final Fantasy. It might have some of that Japanese anime bullshit though that I really could not care less about. So, I don't know, it could be interesting. So yeah, I found those. And she wanted like $5 a game. And, you know, I'm going through there and I'm talking to her about, like, as I saw Kingdom Hearts 2 and I said, do you have the first one? She said, no, I don't think so, but then I found it. Either way, I gave her an offer of $5 for these, which is what I wanted to pay. I should have said less, but since she already said $5 a game, I was like, eh. I mean, it's a good price, $5 a game for these games, but this is yard sales we're talking about, so either way, I said $5. She said, well, could you do 10? And I said, let's meet in the middle for 7. And started taking my money out of my wallet, and was getting out of 5, getting out of 1. I didn't have a 1. I carry around 2 wallets. One with more immediate, lower base numbers, 1s and 5s, maybe a 10 in there or whatever, but I didn't have a 1 in there. And so I started to get out my change because I didn't want her to see that I had another wallet. And she was like, no, you can have it for 6. So I got these 5 games for $6. I don't know why. You know, she could have waited. After that, I rode to another sale, and where did I put that? Oh, it's in there. Okay. Rode to another sale, and was asking about the games, and they had a sale last week. They said come back this week. So I come back this week and was waiting on them because she said that they had just gone away with like a Sega Genesis to their new house, so I waited for that. It was around 5-10 minutes or so. Anyways, eventually they show up with Genesis, Model 1, Sonic 1, Echo, and Monaco GP, all complete in box, blah blah blah. I was not interested in those games, but I did open them up, and like I said, they were all complete, and they had, some of them had like their promotional materials, inserts, and posters, etc. And I actually already own this, but I don't know, it was in, I think mine's in really good condition, but I really like this poster, and it's already hanging on my wall, so I don't know if I really want to take it down and replace it. Maybe I'll compare it, but I don't know, it's in great condition, so I think this is probably my favorite Sonic game of all time. Sonic 3 is good, but Sonic 3 alone is only like 6 stages and feels really short. Sonic 2 is, this is what Sonic means to me. Sonic 1 is, I just hate it. I really do. I know there are people out there who might think that's blasphemy, but this is what Sonic means to me. The stages, the design of the stages, and Tails being the sidekick and everything, and just it really nailed down the design. And further games only really, the 2D ones really just amplified it. So Sonic 3 is definitely looks better, but this game truly defined what Sonic is. So yes, fix this. went down to the thrift stores in the other town and saw that they had a GameCube there, and that GameCube actually was sitting there for, I don't know, two, 3 weeks by now, and every time I go by it, I'm like, you should open this GameCube up and see what disc it has inside. Many of you are probably like, you do that for a Nintendo or something, the original Nintendo, you flip open the door and look inside, but you know, the disc-based games, some of them can be quite rare, and so, you know, I think they had a PlayStation there. I flipped that one open like a couple weeks ago, and it had Crash Bandicoot 2, but flipped it open, and I found a really good condition, decent enough, of Smash Brothers Melee. You might recall what we picked up last week. An empty case of Smash Brothers Melee. This is why you pick up these, because otherwise you just find this and it's not as worth it, you know? I mean, it's still worth it, but this definitely makes it more worthwhile. So yeah, went to the other thrift store. They had pretty much Jack, and except for this one Atari Joystick. And I actually had 2 of these that came with my Atari, the first one I bought, and I really like these. I think they work on Atari and the Amiga computers and stuff, but it's the Power Stick, and I mean, it's still 4 directions, but it just feels so much smoother in your hands to change your direction rather than that rigid piece of crap that is the official joystick. So anyways, those are the results of this week, and if you want to say goodbye to Chuckles here, you should do so, because he's not going to be here next week. So there's just too much too much in there that definitely makes me think he's like the living dead. There's just, his insides are falling apart. Thank you for watching. Maybe I'll find some really good stuff next week. But yeah, the season's definitely coming to a close. You can definitely feel that atmosphere in the air. But, you know, the sharks are still out there. We gotta get out there. We gotta get out there, because otherwise we're not gonna find it. We're not gonna find what we want. So, yeah, get out there, find some good stuff.